at City Hall and in the Major Place Bureau. What a great service this morning. Yes. I've been called all kinds of names. I've been called by many names. You saw how my name was spelled this morning. When I'm at Crossroads, the taxi driver said, "Bishop, you going?" When I'm at Mandeville or Kingston and they have a problem with gender identity, they say, "Mom, you going?" Nobody yet has called me Rasta. But in the 80s, there was a friend who used to tease me. He would call me Geronimo. And Apache. I'm still scratching my head over a new title that has been given to me by my dear friend Yanta Logan. And this came in a text message a week ago. Now, this is a message from Yanta. It read, "Good morning, O Lord." I'm wondering, when did I move from being Rev to Lord? How did Yanta's prayer get into my phone inbox? I've been asked to speak for 2 15-minute sessions, and now for this first 15-minute session, our Dean Rev has asked that in case you want to interact with me, I will pause. You can ask a question. If I can answer it, I will. If not, I'll ask others to volunteer and answer. Clergy Conference 2017 was held in Runaway Bay, February 2022 this year. It was one of the better conferences we've ever had. We've had 2 presenters at the conference. One was Earl Jarrett, Mr. Earl Jarrett, and the other was Mr. Robert Gregory. Both are outstanding Jamaicans. Earl Jarrett and Robert Gregory, they have distinguished themselves in public service and serve on many boards of many corporations here in Jamaica. For Mr. Earl Jarrett, he also sits on international boards abroad because their skills are needed. They're experts. They bring expertise in their fields. They were the presenters this year at Clergy Conference February 2022 at Runaway Bay. Mr. Earl Jarrett and Mr. Robert Gregory. And they were speaking to us on the theme, transforming the diocese through clergy leadership. Transforming the diocese through clergy leadership. Now, they told us the obvious. They told us what we already know, but I just want to share it with you. They told us the obvious. The congregation you grew up in the 50s and 60s is not your congregation today. We've got to face the reality that times have changed. The congregation you knew when you were growing up 40, 50 years ago would not be the congregations we are now a part of in 2017. And we can't dream of the past. We can't go back to the past. We have to embrace the change. We've got to embrace the change. Change is upon us. We can't stand in the way of change. Change is coming. How did President Obama get into the White House in 2008? He said change. He electrified the nation by saying change is here. And everybody voted because of change. Now this is what they told us. Listen, you come from several congregations. We either change or be changed. We will either change or be changed. But you can't stop change. The only thing that will not change is change. Change will not change. It is here. And the congregations we know are part of, they're changing so fast. The ones you knew have now gone. And we've got to face the change. What are some changes in the diocese at this time? One, there's a decline in membership. That's an average Anglican's age. The demographic shift. There shifts in the demography of Jamaica when it comes to our membership. 3, young people are conspicuously absent from the life of our congregations. And why we feel it more severely, why we feel it more severe is that when our young people have finished their high school, they're gone on to Kingston. They leave us. They go off to Kingston and they continue their education. They may or may not return. They may or may not return. They're gone from us. There's a generation gap in our congregations. And our young people, we wish them well when they go to study. Unfortunately, they get jobs, they stay on, and they don't return. And let me just touch on young people. You know, 40 years ago, you could have had young people coming back to church on a weekday, and no one would complain about homework. Nobody was complaining about we got homework, we got SBA, we got this, we got that. People went back to church during the week. But you hardly get young people to coming back to church during the week. There'll be all kinds of excuses. They got homework, they got schoolwork, they got this, they got that. This sense of commitment to the church, also with our young people, is absent. And let me say I've noticed on Good Friday, young people in this pure do not come out to services. You know why? Good Friday service too long. Who would have thought that anybody who is a Christian would think that a Good Friday service was too long for them to come to church on Good Friday? Who would have think that? Another thing that the presenters, Mr. Jarrett and Mr. Gregory told us, ours is a shy church. We are shy. We are a shy church. We think we are modest, we behave that we are modest, but we keep a low profile in social media. Other churches are in the press, they're on the news, they tell what they do, they advertise their product, they're always sending out the message, they're always at it. We have practically nothing going for us. Even the radio program needs a complete revamping. The radio program, I've never heard the thing. I've not heard the thing. But I'm told that the radio program, we're told that radio program needs more than a retooling. It needs a little retooling, the radio program. We are not using social media. We're not in the press. We don't have printed material. And you know, I must say this, I hope I'm within my mouth. And the Anglican newspaper needs a lot to be desired. Because when I go around and I preach in churches and I'm in the vestry waiting for service to begin, the one thing I'm sure to find is a whole pile of the Anglican sitting on a desk. Untouched, unread.
Stop printing them.
Sitting there.
Stop printing them.
And you know what I think is the problem? It is not inclusive. There are more news in Kingston, and there are more news in one part, and it's not encompassing the entire life. There's another problem with the city diocese. The times are changing. One, the level of trust across Jamaica with churches has declined. The sex scandals have rocked the Christian community. Listen to the talk shows. They're having a field day. What's his name? Muta Mubarak. And you know what our bishop said? come out. There are more names on the list that will be revealed in time. Another factor considering the diocese, the income in our local congregations in the diocese, the income has fallen. The income has fallen. Funding programs, paying for priests, covering costs, doing this, doing that. It has fallen. But change has come. So, at this clergy conference, the presenters told us what may be shocking to you, but you've got to face the truth. Some congregations have found themselves in locations where they're no longer relevant. Some congregations have found themselves in locations where they're no longer relevant. They were planted in agrarian communities, but the people in those communities are moving forward. They're going Kingston. They're going Hungary. So, bad news is, or the good news? The good news is, some congregations in the years to come will be closed. Or they'll have to merge. Or they'll be degraded. Some congregations will have to be closed, they'll have to merge, or they have to be degraded. I used to feel bad. But you know, it's all right sometimes if a congregation has served well and its days are done. The congregations Paul founded, Ephesus, Corinth, Galatia, Colossus, they were gone. They were gone. In 100 years or so, 150 years, they were gone from the map. They were gone. It didn't mean that Paul didn't do well. It served well because they were open and they were growing, but with some changes and persecution and all the factors, all those congregations were closed. Now these are tough decisions, and nobody wants to be labeled in any of those categories. Merger, closure. What that's it. The presenters are Jared and Robert Perry showed us a video to facilitate our discussion. The video is a fable, I don't know if any of you have seen it. It's a fable called, it's entitled, Our Iceberg is Melting. Have any of you seen that video? It's a group of penguins who live on an iceberg. And now word has come to them. One day one of them has discovered our iceberg is melting. And changes have to be made. Changes have to be made. You can't save an iceberg if it starts with it. If an iceberg is melting, it's melting. You gotta look elsewhere to relocate. You gotta move. You gotta go another place if you're going to survive. When the discovery is made and you first break the news, there'll always be those who say that's nonsense. This iceberg has been here forever. Why are we moving? Those are the naysayers. So you gotta challenge those who break the news, those who broke the news saying the iceberg is melting, have to convince everybody on the economy about the need to relocate, or else it will be trouble. The iceberg is melting. Think of your church, the diocese, as an iceberg. It's melting. It's melting. It's melting. Think of your congregation as an iceberg. Is it all right with your congregation? An iceberg. It's melting. Yes. When an iceberg is melting and you have to move, you have to create a sense of urgency. You gotta act quickly. You gotta go into action. You gotta be spurred into action. And I think that's why we have 5 months of mission. We have 5 months of mission because they recognize the iceberg is melting. And we've got to use these 5 months of mission to get into gear and into action if we're going to save our congregation. one person in the congregation. The whole congregation has to get on board with the 5 marks of mission. The whole congregation has to feel a part of it. They have to buy into it. They have to say, this is ours. And we have to adopt it to our context, our environment, and to work with it, and to move with it. Some people think ministry is when you gather a group of people around a minister. So ministry is when you have a minister and you have a group of people around. That would be ministry. But that's not ministry. Everybody's a minister. I come out from the Lutheran background, and there's one thing Martin Luther taught us. Every person is a priest. We believe in the priesthood of all believers. Everybody a priest. So, my friends, I hope my 15 minutes coming to an end. We have to have a new culture. We have to have a new culture of doing things. We can't say business as usual. We've got to move. No, guiding. We have a guiding team. Each church and each congregation has a guiding team. Maybe it's a church committee or whatever. The guiding team has to go to work to let the entire congregation buy into the 5 marks of mission. Everybody has to be involved, and everybody has to play their role. I'm going to walk against shells. My thought, my focus. Every congregation wants their own church hall. Every congregation wants their own church hall. Everybody wants a church hall. And because everybody wants a church hall, we're not saying that all the resources are consumed by this church hall project. We haven't sat down to consider it as a mind of the Spirit, it is the will of the Lord. We just feel it's a fashionable thing. We need a church hall. We all must have a church hall. Everybody must have a church hall. So you're going to get, you borrow, you practice, and whatever you receive, you're paying and you're paying and you're paying. Tell me, I'm asking you a question. Will the church hall keep our congregation alive? Will it turn the membership around? Will it improve the quality of the life of the congregation? Really? I'm simply saying it's consuming a lot. And we're stretched because we want a church hall, we want to finish it. Then it becomes problematic and challenging. So nothing is spent, nothing can be spent, nothing can be left for any other program in the church except finishing a building. We need to study these things, re-examine them. So that we're not talking a child, paying, forever paying to complete the church house. Now don't misunderstand me, please. Robert, Gregory, and Earl Jarrett had this to say: ours is not a boring church. Look, we had heaven this morning. We had heaven this morning. We're not a boring church. No, not at all. They say, in all the denominations in Jamaica, the Anglican church has more qualified people in their church than any other denomination. I hate to sound like this prophet of gloom and doom. I hate to tell you this, but there is more of his mentality. I bumped into a priest who was leading his discussion group on this whole business of his building, and he came out to a door. I said, what? And he said, I'm in this group and I have to leave because the way they're talking, there's what already built it. You know what he told me? He said he got out to swim. I can see this.
Ladies and gentlemen, our revolutionary spoke about change. We're going to change things a little now.
It's not a dream, all the name of
The wind blows where it wills. You hear the sound of it. But you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. And so it will be in the years to come. We'll have to hear what the Spirit is saying. We're going to move our congregation forward. I may not last 15 minutes, but I'll just share what I read from it. What it told us is that, you see, uniquely to the church, we have to deal with volunteers. Except for the priest and maybe a small staff. Everybody else is a volunteer in church. A priest gets a salary, a priest gets paid, and some other members of the cure or will receive a stipend. You see, but basically in the congregations, we're dealing with volunteers. Volunteers are nothing. And we have to manage volunteers. How can you hold volunteers accountable? How do you hold volunteers accountable to a job description when they're not paid? How do you tell them that this is not good enough? So you see, this is a challenge for leadership. And we're spelling this out. Now, in a congregation, there are two people who will be accountable. The leader, the priest, is accountable to the followers. The leader, the priest, is accountable to the followers. That is true. The leader must be accountable to the followers, but the followers must also be accountable to the leader. And if there's no accountability, nothing will succeed. So there must be an accountability. Where there will be no accountability, the congregation will not work. Now, for those of you who are making notes, for those of you who are making notes, just as how we have 5 marks of mission, they told us the book, the 5 minds of the future. So if you're interested in knowing what is your mind, what should be your mindset as you look into the future, there's a book called The 5 Minds of the Future. And these are the qualities. These are the qualities of what the mind, the 5 different minds of the future. 1, a disciplined mind. A disciplined mind. You've got to be leaders. I'm looking at leaders. Leaders, we have to have disciplined minds, meaning we have to always want to learn something new, study something, analyze something, consider something, don't just dismiss it. Have a disciplined mind. In the future, you will have to have a disciplined mind if you're going to address issues, address situations. 2, you must have a synthesizing mind. I won't attempt to spell that. You have to have a synthesizing mind. That is, you got to be willing to absorb information from many sources. You can't just say, this is my only source. You have to be open. The wind blows where it winds. And you can hear it. You don't know where it comes from or where it is going, you only hear the sound of it. You have to be open to the Spirit. You have to have a synthesizing mind. You have to be broad-minded. So you can absorb new information, taking information from a variety of sources. 3, a leader for the future, 5 minds for the future, will not only be a disciplined mind or a synthesizing mind, you must be willing to have a creative mind. Creative, you've got to take a risk. You've got to be willing to take a risk. You've got to be willing to step out of the comfort zone. You hear people say, oh, we never did it like this. We've never done it like this. No, but it's worth trying. You've got to take a risk. We are going to take a risk. This diocese will have to take a risk if we're going to step out of what is familiar and commonplace and then try the unknown. We've got to try the unknown and venture into the unknown because that is part of what it means to be creative. You can't box the Holy Spirit in you. You can catch it. If I can, go. Then, this one I'm not too sure about, but Paratoni was there, Paratoni was there. This one is an ethical line. ETHICAL, the ethical line. And I think he said something about understand your society, understanding the society, the values of the society, the ethics of the society. So you have to have an ethical mind. You have to understand the culture, the mores, issues, the norms. Very good, Mr. Davis. The norms. I don't understand all of this. The norms. And the last one he said was the respectful mind. You've got to learn to respect differences. You've got to learn to respect differences. You have to be willing to agree to disagree. Now, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people sitting at a table, 10, 12 people, everybody is not going to be on the same page. We all have differences. We all are coming from different angles. So we gotta be willing, as a leader for the future, will be somebody who has a respectful mind. You gotta work at it. But you know what he said? Before something is to be tried, you must present evidence, the data. You must present the data to show how it can be done. You can't just say, let's try this. You must have studied it. You must have looked at it from all angles. So when you come to the table, you're prepared and you have the data to say, look, I have looked at this, I considered it, you know. For example, it just crossed my mind. A congregation might say, we need a bus. There are many members. We got to bus them around. They no longer can come to church. When we have evening activities, the folks say they can't come because there's no one to bring them, no one to take them back. So let us say you need a bus. Then somebody will come and bring the data. First of all, you might tell us what it will cost. Yes. And where you're going to get the parking. Then you might want to say, look, where are you going to get the funds from? Or how is it a project? How are you going to raise it? You know, but whatever. I'm simply saying, there will be differences, but you got to work them through. And you got to, brainstorm. Brainstorm the differences until you come to amicable